Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Travel Coach Network podcast. It is I, Sahara Zavor, the founder and CEO of the Travel Coach Network and the creator and instructor of the Travel Coach Certification Program. Today, we have another lovely member of the Travel Coach Certification Program and the TCN, Shanell Varner. Shanell is a curator of unforgettable experiences and a connoisseur of wanderlust. Growing up taking road trips throughout the East Coast, she always had a deep-seated love for travel, and it grew deeper during a life-changing trip to Africa in 2007. As luxury and wellness travel advisor and the founder of Moonglade Travel, Shanell has been orchestrating dream vacations since 2016, specializing in romantic getaways, solo travel, and women's wellness retreats. Shanell's expertise has graced the pages of outlets like SouthPark Magazine, Recommend Magazine, and other esteemed publications, solidifying her reputation as a go-to travel guru. Her latest passion project, quote, with love from travel, end quote, is a captivating travel reflection journal that captures the essence of her adventures and inspires others to embark on their own trips. Shanell, thank you so much for joining us today on the TCN podcast. We're excited to chat with you.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful. First, tell us, where did your passion for travel stem from?
Oh boy. I'd say growing up, I grew up in Amityville, Long Island, which is the suburbs of New York City, and we would take road trips to Virginia to see my great grandfather, or down to Maryland to see relatives. So it started. I could just remember being a little girl, just looking at the window, looking through at the mountains going through Virginia, or looking at the coast or the buildings on those road trips, or so I would say it probably started there as a young girl, and just had this passion and desire to see things and to go places. My grandmother used to say, "I'm on every train," and it literally was every train. When I had relatives that were going down south or going somewhere, I was always like, "Can I go?" Jumping on the train or the bandwagon wherever they were going, just because I had that desire, that excitement for something different, something new. So I would say it probably started there at a young age, and then just evolved as I grew up. And I would travel predominantly through the East Coast, the North and the South of the East Coast. And then I took my first international trip at 18 to Mexico. And right after I graduated high school. I'm probably going to age myself, but this was before you even needed a passport to go to Mexico. So I would say then it was just traveling road trips or train rides throughout the East Coast when I was a young girl is where it probably initiated. And I'm a Sagittarius, so I've always had this love for adventure and new and exciting things.
Would you say, out of the travels that you've had thus far, is there a trip that has impacted you the most or really transformed you in some way?
Absolutely. I mean, there's been several, but probably the absolute first trip that was just really life changing to me was in 2007 when I went to Liberia, which is West Africa, where my dad is from. And me and my mom went over there for 2 weeks to visit and explore. And I really didn't have expectations or intentions for the trip. It was like, oh, we're going to Africa. It's our first time visiting the continent in the country, and it was amazing. I mean, I really can't put it into words, that experience, but it was life changing in a sense where it completely blew my mind and changed what I thought I knew about a place. It was completely different from what was in school books or what was on TV about, Africa. The community was so welcoming and friendly and kind, and um, grateful just for us and our presence there. Um, the food. It's like I love to eat when I travel. The food was spectacular. The experiences, the people that I met. I remember swimming in a lagoon and fish swimming around my feet and ankles and legs, or walking down the streets and the locals are singing and playing drums in their local language. Um, It was really humbling too. We kind of hopped around and stayed at different places. The first couple of days, we stayed at this really, really nice kind of hotel with beautiful ocean views and a great location. And then we kind of hopped around. We stayed at a missionary um, residence, which was very humbling. I'm here comes this American girl, and I'm looking for a microwave, and it's like, no, ma'am, I'm looking for uh, what was it? Running water. The place that we stayed didn't have running water past a certain time. Or you couldn't drink the water. We had electricity from we were living off of a generator for a couple of days, so we only had electricity in the evenings from like 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. So waking up to make breakfast looked different. So it was a very transformational trip in a sense where it completely opened my eyes to things that I thought I knew, but I had no idea about. And it put a lot of things into perspective for me of um, the compassion and gratitude that I had for the community that I was in, for the people that lived there, for even myself being open to those experiences. Because, like I said, I think I was in my early 20s at that time and didn't really have an intent like I do now when I travel. But the transformation that came without having intent is really what fuels my intent behind my trips now. It's, really focusing on the why behind the things that I do so that I can have those experiences that leave me fulfilled, that leave me bright eyed and bushy tailed, or that even leave me reflective on things that I may need to, kind of dig deeper and heal from um, or challenge myself on. I've learned a
Yeah.
lot through that trip alone, but it really kind of set the blueprint on how I travel now and how I empower my clients to travel. It
Mhm.
was also the inspiration behind With Love from Travel, the travel reflection journal that we launched 2 years ago. So I'd have to say by far that trip to Liberia in 2007 was the one that did it for me.
That yeah, we'll get into the journal and all your coaching and business and stuff shortly. But what took you from that point of, well, first of all, I hear a lot of stories of how Africa really was an eye-opening experience for people and really was a catalyst of transformation for people in so many different ways. So I'm not surprised to hear that. It sounds just magical, but what what about experiencing travel and what travel has done for you led you on the path of becoming a travel advisor and wanting to now help others have travel experiences? And within that, how did you start incorporating coaching into your work as a travel advisor?
Yeah. I really would say it was that trip. I returned home and I was so excited and transformed from this experience, and I shared it with friends and family and really anybody I knew. And it was eye opening for me too that I mean, there were people who had never left the country, who never left their city, their hometown, who had never been on a plane. And I was just baffled. I was like, oh my gosh. So I just felt this energy to really get as many people to see the world as possible. And travel looks different for everybody. Everybody can't go to Africa for 2 weeks, but where can we start to introduce these new experiences? Even traveling in with or exploring your own city and hometown can be eye opening for folks as well. But I would probably say that trip to Africa was really the one that kind of sparked it. Now, I didn't start the travel company until years later, but it came from friends and family. I would book trips or plan itineraries for them. I was pretty good at it. So I was like, okay, hey, there's an opportunity here. I have a love for travel. I love to travel. I'm pretty good at putting together itineraries and making suggestions for things to do and how to have these remarkable experiences. Why not turn this into a business opportunity? So that's how it started. And we launched Moonglade Travel in 2016. So about 9 years after that trip to Africa. And life was lifing through those years too. So it really was a time of just opportunity and really just pushing myself to take action at that point.
Yeah, and what about the coaching aspects? I know when you joined the Travel Coach Network, you had already kind of been integrating in your own way coaching into how you work with your clients as a travel advisor. Can you paint a little bit of that picture for our listeners?
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting, the discovery, because I came across this opportunity through the TCN the travel coaching program. And, I was like, well, let's talk about it. What's happening here? What does this look like? And as I sat through, listening to some of your training programs, or your webinars, and just really kind of diving into the website, it was like, hey, this is kind of what you're already doing in the aspect of really diving deep into the why. Why are we traveling? What do we need this trip to do for us? I always talk about intent, or starting with the end in mind. How do we want to return home? What do we need to do, or what do we need this trip to do for us to help us feel better, be better, whatever we're looking for. So we've kind of already been having those conversations with our clients. Why do you want to travel? Not necessarily where do you want to go. And I always start with the destination, because you may want to go to, I don't know, to Ghana, but what is that experience going to do for you there? What do you need this experience to do? So we may start, and this literally just happened to a client recently. We were planning their 30th anniversary trip, and she came and she wanted to do, I believe, Italy. We started to explore Italy, and by the time we started to explore it a little bit, and I heard more about what she liked, what she disliked, how her and her husband typically traveled, what their styles were or interests were, and how important this celebratory moment was for 30 years. Then we were like, okay, well, Italy may check a couple of these boxes, but it may not check the boxes that we need them to check based on, what they wanted that experience to look like. So we ended up switching destinations, and they're gonna island hop through Greece in August for their 30th anniversary. So just really having those conversations. We are not cookie cutter at all. We've always been a custom travel planning company, and it really is about the client and what their experience, what their desires for their experiences are, what their travel style is. So it really just starts with that conversation of getting to know them and where they are and what they envision this trip to do for them. And then from there is when we start to craft the itinerary and put things into place to make sure that we're able to have that successful outcome and experience on their trip.
Yeah, that's super interesting. It's exactly what we talk about in the Travel Coach Network in our program is that, what I call destination or experience matching, because the travel industry has been the travel and planning and booking industry has been in a way set in its ways in that you figure out where do you want to go and then what do you want to do and what can you get out of this versus flipping that around and saying, what are we looking to get out of this? How do we want to feel? What do we want our life to look like during and after the trip? What are some of the things we want to focus on? Is it connecting with other people? Is it, healing ourselves, or is it helping us cope with something we're going through? Is it building a connection with our partner because we've been together for 30 years now? Whatever it might be, setting those goals and aspirations and helping them set intentions, and then saying, okay, well, this is the type of destination that is best suited for what you're looking for, or these types of experiences. Maybe that means going off the beaten path. Maybe that means trying something a little bit more adventurous. Maybe that means, getting out of your comfort zone and, going to a local market. It's a lot easier to help plan and book a trip when you really understand what that individual is looking for at that time of that trip. Because every time we travel, we're looking for something different. We're a different person. We're going through different things. There's different meaning behind every trip that we go on. So I love hearing how you kind of already were realizing that, and working with people through that. I can imagine, that trip, that island hopping trip is going to be, spectacular for your clients there. When it comes to, so you focus a lot more in the wellness and luxury space. Can you share what that means for Moonglade Travel? Because luxury and wellness travel, they're pretty general terms, but what does that mean for you and your business?
Yeah, great question. I'm glad you asked that. I was having a conversation about that yesterday, because luxury and wellness, to me, it looks different for everybody. It's a spectrum. I have clients who want to charter a private jet. I have clients who want to just upgrade to club level or business class. So to me, it's elevated experiences and what that looks like for you. I talk a lot about affordable luxury. So it really just means what that looks like for the clients. We have, we specialize, we don't book US destinations currently. So it's international with the exception of Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and the US Virgin Islands. And it wasn't always like that. I wanted to say when we started out as a travel company, we were booking anything. Not anything, but we were doing cruises, we were doing domestic, and we got burnt out really quickly because we realized that one, it wasn't in line with what our passion was for these elevated intentional experiences. And it also, I mean, quite frankly, wasn't lucrative. So that quickly changed, after a year, maybe one or two. And then that's when we started to say, okay, what's our niche? What's our sweet spot? What's the type of clientele or the types of experiences that we want to work with, that we enjoy working with, and that we're really great at? And that's where we niche down to luxury and wellness. And even with wellness, I have clients who want a 5-day silent retreat. I have clients that still want to go to, Mexico and stay at a all inclusive, but has access to a spa, has access to daily yoga and meditation, has access to local cultural healing practices. So it really is expansive, and it looks different for each of our clients. But that's why we have those conversations to really see where they are and what their interests are, and then we can work with them from there to craft that wellness or travel experience that looks good for them.
Yeah, I love that. Wellness means something and looks different to every single person. With your company name, Moonglade Travel, you were one of our speakers at our recent Women Thrive Through Travel Mastermind virtual event in 2024 here, one of our 15 speakers. And when you were talking, you shared where Moonglade, and I didn't know this, where Moonglade came from. Can you share with our listeners what that means?
Yes, I love talking about this. One, I'm infatuated with the moon. I always have been. I just feel like I have this spiritual connection to the divine moon. And the name came from a moon glade is the moon's reflection in a body of water. And two things that I love most are water and the moon. And to be able to combine those two was very sentimental for me. But on a deeper level, just the reflection part of it, because I believe that travel is very, you can reflect deeply through travel, through your travel experiences. So that's really how it came about. The combination of the moon's reflection of the water, but really being able to have travel experiences that allow you to reflect on where you are currently, where you've come, and really just kind of sit in a space of what's next, where are we going now. And I find that happens so much for me when I'm traveling, when I'm in a different setting or a beautiful place, or just catching the sunrise at 6 a.m. on the beach. I'm able to sit and reflect and express gratitude and appreciation, for how far I've come, challenges that I've overcome, accomplishments that I've had. So that's kind of how it all ties in, is the reflective property of a moon glade, and my love for the moon and water.
I love that. I didn't know that. I too have a slight obsession with the moon and the reflections in general. I do a lot of art, and in several of my paintings, I paint the reflection of the moon on water, and I had no idea there was a word for that. It's just so pretty. But we mentioned when I was reading your introduction that you have landed some media wins, like in SouthPark Magazine and Recommend Magazine. In the Travel Coach Network, our membership club, our certification program, one of my favorite things to talk about is the power of media publicity. And it's what we tend to teach too in there, is that the effect of visibility. But with many of our listeners who are other travel coaches, travel business owners, um, what, why do you find value in exposure, media exposure like that? Like, what are some of the benefits for you, and why did you choose to get visible in that manner?
Yeah, that actually was a goal of mine. It was on my vision board. Um, I want to say last year, of the media exposure. We have done some local, we've written for local travel related blog posts for local publications here in the Charlotte area, but I hadn't had major coverage like the opportunities that have been presented through the community, the TCN community, which have been fantastic. But for me, it's the more one I talk about it, the more proficient and confident I feel in those settings. And two, the more exposure, the more people that know what I do and how I do, the more opportunities that can come such as those as far as media, but then also client growth, supplier knowledge and growth, partnerships and collaboration. So for me, it was just really getting the Moonglade name out there to as many people that can see it, because I feel like we're unique in the sense that we're a little different from traditional travel agencies, where we're not like we've talked about it being transactional, and there's no shade, there's nothing against that. I think there's somebody for everybody, and I love that about the travel industry, but we are a little niche and different in what we do. So I wanted to be sure that we had some opportunities for exposure in that space, and through the membership and community. I'm so grateful for you, and those opportunities. We were recently featured in the Wonder Magazine
Mhm.
Access Travel Coach segment, which was fantastic. And we also had an opportunity for the Authority Magazine. I love when you you share those opportunities, and it's like I would have never known about them. Usually it's like I'm out here hunting to see, where's the next thing, when's the next thing, and being able to have that access and have you guys as a resource in that space has just been phenomenal.
Yeah, well, we're so happy that you're loving that. Yeah, for listeners, the opportunities for media like that come through our TCN membership club. We provide different opportunities. We have a partnership with Wander Magazine. We have exclusivity to their Ask a Travel Coach column. So every season that they come out with a new issue, our members have the opportunity to answer one of the questions that their readers send in. So we found that our travel coaches are loving that opportunity. And then just providing the opportunities that I get that come my way to my members is something that I just absolutely love. Everything that I do, because I understand how much work and effort and energy it goes into pitching to the media. I do it all the time. I'm still doing it, but now I do it with the mindset of my travel coaches and providing them opportunities as well too. So congrats on all of those media wins that you had. There's definitely more to come. I'm so excited to be sharing with you guys. And as we come towards the end here, I'd love to hear more about your With Love from Travel, this new travel journal. Can you share more of what that's all about?
Yes, that's my baby. So with Love from Travel, like I said, it really was inspiration from that trip to Africa in 2007. I took a blank lined notebook and literally wrote down everything: the flight times, how we were delayed in Lisbon, how where we ate, how I felt. This was an emotional trip for me. I was in a space where I was really just trying to figure it out. I was a recent college grad, trying to figure out what's next in life. So I just wrote it all down, day by day by day. Who I met, what I ate, where I went, the sounds, the taste, and packed it away. And I found it about 12 years later when I was moving, and I just opened it up and I was like, "What is this? Oh, here's my journal from my trip to Africa." And Sahara, I literally was bawling in the middle of the floor reading it because it felt like I had stepped back in time. I could taste the pizza from the Lebanese restaurant Mona Lisa. I can hear the drums playing and the neighbors in the street walking, singing in their local language. I remember the heat. It took me like it really was an opportunity that just took me back in time and was so reflective. And I wanted people to have that. I wanted people to have a tool to be able to capture these experiences in a bit of more of an organized fashion. And I also realized that writing doesn't come naturally to me. I'm not just a natural writer. Um, it can sometimes be difficult for me just to sit down with a blank sheet of paper and just write, especially at that time. So I also wanted to be able to share some of my travel stories to inspire people to even think about traveling with the purpose. What does that mean? What does that look like? What does that feel like? So throughout the journal, there are snippets of, and they're short little paragraphs of trips that taken. It's very Africa heavy because that's where the inspiration has come through. But I've traveled to many places in between that time. So there's family trips that I've taken with my kids first international trip. It's trips that me and my husband have taken. It's trips that I've taken with my girlfriends. And it's just snippets of those experiences to really just inspire the reader to travel with purpose and with intent, but to also inspire them on what intentional travel can look like or feel like, or what that experience can be. So there's snippets of that, and then some really profound travel quotes throughout the journal. But then there's also pages that are very detailed where it says, okay, where are you at? Where in the world are you? Who are you with? You know, what are you feeling? There's a little like an emoji icon at the bottom. It's like, what was today like? Were we joyful? Were we happy? Were we not so happy because our flights were delayed or we missed our transfer for our tour activity? Whatever could happen, but there's spaces for that. What did you taste, hear, see, feel? And then there's some just blank line pages for free writing to just express yourself. And then we also threw about 10 travel tips in the back just to help people along their travel planning and travel journeys. So that's what With Love from Travel is for us. We launched it about 2 years ago, coming out of the pandemic. So it's my baby. It's available on Amazon, and then we also have it at some local gift shops here in the Charlotte area.
Oh, I love that. That's so fun. It sounds like the perfect travel gift for people. So definitely everyone keep in mind that we'll be sure to link it in our show notes, but keep this in mind if you're looking for the ultimate gift for someone going on a trip. That sounds like it would be the perfect thing. But before we wrap it up towards the end, can you share a little bit of what being in the travel coach certification program has done for you and your journey in your travel business?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been phenomenal, Sar. Honestly, especially being kind of had my toe in the travel coaching space, but didn't really realize it. And being in this program has really helped me put my mind around what this looks like for me as a travel advisor, as a travel coach, but even as my travel business continues to scale, how do we implement more practical and intentional coaching methodologies into this space? Because that's something that I've lacked. Like I said, I feel like I've been doing some of it, but now I feel like I have the tools and the resources and the support to do it and do it correctly. So that would be one of the spaces that I would say is just that knowledge and confirmation that this is one that I didn't even know this existed before I came across, the travel coaching network. But that it was really just reassuring that yes, you're on the right path, you're in the right space. And look here, there's more of you. There's a community that is here to support you and here to help you navigate. That I love the meetups that you guys do. I love the Facebook community. So being able to have access to other like-minded, like-hearted professionals in this space has just been remarkable. And then I mentioned the opportunities that have come as far as the media, being able to speak at the recent Women Thrive Through Travel event. So it's just been, invaluable in my opinion of the connections and the resources that I've been able to tap into.
Oh, good. We love hearing how much it's helped you. And yeah, like I always say, we're building this for all of you guys. So all of you guys are the shining star. All of you travel coaches, travel experts are the shining stars. We're just here to, support you and guide you along the way and provide whatever resources we can to help you boost your business and really help people have those meaningful experiences that transform their lives. But my favorite question here, Shanell, is always, is there a fun fact about yourself that you can share with our listeners? It doesn't have to be business or travel related.
Oh boy. I can think of a couple, but the one that comes to mind is a fun fact is that I was an extra in a movie called Shake, Rattle, and Roll. It was I think it was a TV series. It was like NBC, ABC, or something like that. And but it was dated. It was a movie. It was a film about I think the 60s or something. So like hair, makeup, clothing, and everything was based on the 50s or 60s for that film. But that was probably a fun fact. I was an extra in a movie, so I can't quite call myself an actress, but I might.
I love that. Were there any big name actors or actresses in it that we would know?
I think is it Tamia? Is that Grant Hill's wife, the singer an actress, Tamia. She was the star in
Mm.
she was one of the stars in the film. So we rode on the bus with her. We were back in the studio with her doing hair and makeup. Was able to be there live through obviously the sessions and the filming. So that was really cool. And it
Oh,
was
that's
filmed on a college campus here in North Carolina. So it was a cool experience. I was in high school at the time, so it was just a
mm.
really cool experience to be, amongst the whole just film industry on set and have that experience. So I'd probably say that I'm a hidden actress.
I love all these like random facts about you guys. But these experiences that it's really important to fill your life full of these really random experiences, right? It's, why not? Why not just go for it? And I say that about everything in life, right? Travel, go for it. Business, just go for it. And you want to be an actress on a set for a day, go for it, right? But Shanell, thank you so much for being a guest today. Where can everyone find and follow and learn more about you and your business?
Yeah, absolutely. We're online. Our website is moongladetravel.com. You can also find us on Instagram as Moonglade Travel. And my personal Instagram is Where Shanell. I call myself the Carmen San Diego. And so it's really Where Am I? And it's Where's Shanell on Instagram. So those are some ways that you can find us. We're also on LinkedIn as Shanell Varner and Moonglade Travel.
Perfect. Well, we will put all of those links and your link to your travel journal in our show notes. Thank you so much for being a guest today on the TCN podcast. It's always a joy chatting with you.
Thank you. The pleasure's all mine. I appreciate you.
Wonderful. Everyone, be sure to follow us at thetravelcoachnetwork.com. Give us a hello at the Travel Coach Network on Instagram. We'd love to have you visit us in the TCN Global Community on Facebook. You can find the link for that and your free beginner's guide to travel coaching in our show notes, along with all of Shanell's links as well. And if you know anyone who might be interested in travel coaching, please be sure to send them our way to our podcast. We truly appreciate it. And until next time, my fellow wanderers, bye for now.